All right, hello, internet. Welcome to another episode of Just Some Perspective podcast. I am your host, Mosh, and this is the third recording, and it's been a minute. Just getting this shit up and running, that's the hardest thing to do. And that's true in life in general. So, anywho, my mission statement on this podcast is to create some sense of peace, perspective, positivity, and overall positive impact on the world. And so, I'm going to only share things that I believe is beneficial for people, for you, the audience, regardless of your age or background, but hopefully impacting as many humans as possible. And life is about learning, obviously, because consistently learning and growing. Here's one red pill. There's no end to learning. Okay. Uh, if anyone ever says I'm too old or whatever, that's complete bullshit. That just means that they're so fixed in the way they see life that they are not willing to even consider looking at life a different way in order to benefit them in some way. So anyway, let's see. Today, I'm gonna touch into a little bit of perspectives and how to navigate life's ups and downs, And I'll bring up a story of a recent event I went to, uh, a recent matrimonial event, see if that resonates with any viewers, but I'm sure it will. That's a whole nother mess, obviously, today's modern dating world. I think if you're listening, you're well aware of that, right? So, as this podcast is called Just Some Perspective, I I believe it's the single most important thing, if I'm being honest, for a person to have. A person in any walk of life, who is looking to accomplish something more and hit new levels, have reach higher goals, anything like that. But I mean, in general, it's about perspective. No matter how you slice it. So what's a good example, right? I think an example everyone can resonate to. You're gonna see homeless people in this world, in this life, right? Especially if you live in a big city and especially if you drive around downtown. And for sure, if you live in Los Angeles or Toronto or any major city like that, Dallas, New York, you will 100% see homeless on the street somewhere, right? Now, if that doesn't provide perspective, I don't know what will, because for sure, majority of people don't have to worry about that in today's world, in the civilized world, I mean, right? Now, I'm not talking about the village life or the farmer life necessarily, and not that they're all struggling, but yeah, man, like, so I'm recording this right in the comfort of my house, right, at the convenience of my time, um, after a day of doing stuff around my home and taking care of my dog and myself, because currently I'm a single man, a bachelor, professional. So its responsibilities all fall onto me. But yeah, it's not fun taking out the trash. Nobody wants to necessarily. It's not fun doing the dishes or the laundry or sweeping the floor. I mean, I'm sure someone gets a kick out of it, but it's not exactly a fun activity, right? It just has to get done. Now, uh, yes, you can complain like this sucks, I hate doing it, whatever. But on the flip side, you know who doesn't have to do that ever? Homeless people. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to trade places with the guy on the street begging for change. Yes, I sure don't. Now, I'm not putting down homeless. I just want to be clear. I'm using that as an example on the overall point about having perspective. Okay. And here's something I'll share that I look to do personally, on a day-to-day basis if I get the opportunity. So when I drive to work, I take the same route like most people do. It's the same way, going to the office, which isn't more central of the city and about half an hour away from my house. And there is a there's an exit to a ramp that leads to um, a smaller highway and a big intersection there. And homeless guys are there usually in the middle of the day, just holding up a sign and asking for help and whatever. And in the summertime is absolutely hell here in Texas. If anyone lives in a hot area, or especially if you live in Texas in the summer, you know. And so what I like to do is I carry around water bottles in my car, and the least I could do if I'm already on that side that the homeless guys are standing on, I I just I see if I can, now without stopping the flow of traffic, and I have water bottles available, because you don't want to certainly stop traffic and you're still trying to get to where you're getting to in a timely manner. So I try to keep water bottles within arm's length, and if I can quickly stop, roll down the window and offer a bottle of water, usually they'll take it. I will do so. Uh, that is just perspective of, alhamdulillah, I was born in a third world country, and trust me, there's no bigger perspective builder than that. If you're South Asian or Asian in general, or African or something, you were born in like a much poorer country or something, and have the opportunity to start life in the West, or a flourishing country like the States, you perfectly know that, right? Uh, Nobody would want to trade places with the homeless. And also, now, if you mentally put in your mind, if you were in that person's shoes, wouldn't you want someone to offer you something, or to provide a little bit of hope, or a tiny shred of generosity in the form of like a water bottle or something? No one's asking for hundreds of dollars or like straight up cash like that, right? That's not realistic. But certainly offering something like a water bottle or even a candy bar, whatever, if you have it in your car, right? That takes no effort. And I I leverage that perspective to remind myself, hey man, like you were born in a third world country, okay? Your parents and family fought for you to have the opportunity to grow up here, and don't squander what you have, and certainly give back when you can. And also, giving back is part of my religion. If you're Muslim, you know, inshallah, uh, charity is mandatory part of my religion. Thank God, because it should be. If you're a religious person, it should be mandatory in your religion. And now, that being said, do you have to believe in a faith to give to those who have less? No, you don't have to. You simply will should have a perspective of, I would not want to trade places, but at the same time, if I did trade places with that person, would I want me to offer something uh, t- to that person? Yeah, that's it. Just be in your car and say, "Wow, I'm so blessed to have a car to drive, and a job to go to, and clothes on my back, and all of these things I can afford." This person might have started out that way, in fact, right? In fact, a lot of these homeless, man, they were tax-paying citizens just like you, man, just like me. And in fact, if you have a chance to read their signs, a lot of them would say they used to be workers, and they something happened with job and financial crisis and family situation. Yeah, and I don't even want to get started with the medical reality we live in, and the insane amount of bills and so forth. Having good health, man, is the greatest thing. I'm telling you, especially the older you get, which relates to fitness and nutrition, which we'll cover later as well. But so that's the biggest perspective, I'd say. That's a really important one to have, right? Is to try to give when you can. But not just that. Why are you giving in the first place? Okay. You're giving because, number one, it's the right thing to do. And it's just being a decent human being. It doesn't matter what your faith is, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You can offer something to someone who's looking, who is more hopeless than you. Okay, you have something to offer, and just taking the time out of your day to even smile or offer some hope or something is doing something. And just put yourself in that person's shoes. You would want, if you were in that person's shoes and you were looking at yourself, wouldn't you want to offer something, right? So that's something I would highly recommend, right? So that's just a reframe. Having that perspective is a reframe on day to day. And I've always done that. I'm not trying to brag, man. I'm not trying to brag. When I started my first job, if you're in your 30s now or beyond, you've probably been working so roughly around a decade by now, somewhere around there. And I'm very grateful to say I've been well over a decade in my career now, a career that I didn't plan on necessarily going into in the tech world when I was in college. But then again, a lot of us don't actually work where we study and where we thought about, right? That's actually a future episode I'll get into. But yeah, when I was in starting my career, right? I'm talking 1 hour commutes one way to get to my office, but I don't care. I'm 23 and I'm just grateful to have a great job or to for a big company in Dallas and just not too long after graduation, because we all want to start somewhere. We all worked our whole life to get our degree, right? And if when you first get that first job for a big company making like solid money, it is just life changing, and that alone I'm grateful for sure. Now, getting that 1 hour commute, including like 40-minute train ride. Um, as you get off the train in downtown Dallas, you will see homeless for sure. And at the time back then, home people were giving out papers. Now the paper would go towards the homeless in the city, and you're getting a paper in return. So it's some reading material, and it's $1, so who cares, or something, and or maybe 50 cents even. And yeah, of course, most people are just busy. Like, hey, I got work to go to. I got headphones on, whatever. Everyone's in their own little universe. Okay, there's no. I learn as you get older not to take that personally. Everyone's in their own universe, especially today, right? We all got these, right? Now, it's hard to find someone without an AirPod nowadays. I just ordered mine. I realize I haven't much use for that. Not that I necessarily need it that much, but I have use for it. So whatever, it's worth the investment. But anywho, I when I saw the homeless giving out papers or for $1 or whatever, I'm like, you know what? The very least I could do, number one, in my religion, it's generosity is part of my religion. So I am, I'm, I am performing my obligation of my religion and of my Lord by being generous to a homeless person, and it's on the way to my work, my office, and all I have to do is literally give them $1 for a paper, and it makes their day, or it really gives them a lot. I'm like, yeah, of course I will. And I ended up having a lot of papers stacked on my thing. And some people look at it like, yeah, but they're just gonna spend the money on nonsense or bad things or whatever. Maybe they will, but that's not my concern. It's my dog, sorry. That's not my responsibility. My being generous is for me and for my Lord, right? Because now I'm a believer. I'm not trying to get too religious, but at the end of the day, all your sins, if you're a believer, your sins and your good deeds are going to be weighed and measured against each other, and that's how you'll be judged, right? I mean, human beings kind of do that, not as great, not as efficiently, but I digress. So yeah, I'm like, look, man, this is a lady who's lived a long life. I'm a young guy just going to an office for some office job, and if the least I could do is give $1 for a newspaper and make her smile or something, like I'll happily do so. And yeah, other people have a warped perspective there, thinking that, oh, they're just gonna scam me or whatever. You can have that perspective if you want to, yeah, but that's because if you haven't been in that situation, then you have no clue as to what that person is going through. And if it doesn't impact your day by here's 50 cents, here's some change or whatever, here's a buck extra, then why not, right? So anyway, That's the absolute best perspective a person can have is that that person's in shoes that I definitely can't relate to. I wouldn't want to be in. Having said that, if I was, I would also want to be a person that sees the good in people or be able to be generous and show some generosity and some positivity, right? And whether you're religious or not, it's still being a decent human being. And you actually feel better when you give, by the way, my friend. Um, they say there's a power in giving instead of receiving, right? Yeah. Have you ever felt worse by giving to someone? I don't think so. Give a child a toy for Christmas or something they love, you will absolutely feel the most joy in your heart you can feel because from their happiness. So their happiness is your happiness, which means giving, there's more power in giving than receiving, which means by giving, yes, you're winning multiple ways. You're helping someone and you're feeling better about yourself, which makes and winning points in the total score of the universe. Because regardless of what you believe, you're a product of the universe, and you live on in the time scale of the universe. Anyway, let's not get too wooed today, but you know what I mean, right? So, oh yeah, so the story I was gonna uh, talk about today. I went to a matrimonial event last weekend in Houston, and yeah, that was a perspective builder for sure. That was a perspective builder, and in a good way. Of course, there's pros and cons to everything in life, right? And I just went in with a certain mindset that it I couldn't be like I couldn't be distraught based on what happened, right? But so to give you some context, right, of this story of this matrimonial event, so specifically Muslim matrimonial event, right? So specifically Muslims, and excuse me, my friends who are Muslim bachelors in the DFW area, who I referenced in a previous episode about a singles mixer. They invited me, like, hey man, let's go check it out, and we'll register. And here's the link to register. Here's the application, yada yada yada. So I do all the registration. We agree. We figure out time, location, hotel, all that stuff. So we get there, and the way they organize it, and I have to mention that, right, that the organizers are their whole goal is to organize based on the Islamic approach to matrimony and marriage, right? Fine. Religious, that's my religion, that's everyone's religion in that place. So yeah, it's supposed to be done religiously, no problem. And that being said, that means people are going to be leaned towards more conservative, right, on the religious side. That's perfectly understandable because technically, religiously speaking, you are more conservative. And a future episode, uh, yes, do you become more conservative as you get older? I would argue yes. Now that's just me talking. I can't speak for everyone, but if as you get older and you have more responsibilities and you 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 weigh your values and you understand what your values are and what you really want in your future family or whatever, yeah, you probably will lean towards more conservative. That doesn't mean you have to be hardcore, you know, Bible thumping or something like that. But anyway, so yeah, very conservative of a matchmaking area, very conservative of the folks who are organizing, and fine, to be expected. So they had the guys all sit down towards the front of this little what is it called? This area, this little hall, right, within this hotel. And so obviously if you're a dude you already probably know that you should dress presentably, right? You don't have to be in a suit and tie, but at least dress somewhat sharp and presentably. So for me, dress shirt, blazer, jeans, I'm good, right? And so we all of myself, my buddies, and all the guys there, they were given an assigned number, and we tried to sit down numeric order in that regard. Not 100% numerically, but more or less. You're assigned a number, and you, you amongst the people there, whenever your number is called, here's the whole spiel. You were supposed to go up to the front of the room in front of all potential eligible prospects who are with their parents and family, by the way, because they're supposed to be accompanied by a family member or legal guardian, right? This is the conservative Islamic approach, and they're all very conservative dressed. And by the way, there's no music. There's the mood is very dry. It's nobody's necessarily looking happy here, even though it's a matrimonial event. That's because the organizers have no clue on how to actually like create an atmosphere that like younger folks can vibe with, right? The older generation has no idea about this, or at least a lot of them don't, right? So, anywho, all the guys had to go up to the front of the room in front of, I don't know, a couple hundred people, something like that, including the women that they want to attract and potentially want to have a prospect and potentially see if that becomes a long-term thing, right? And you go up there, you introduce yourself, give all your basic information, your name, your age, your location, your background, your career, yada yada. Everyone, it's your profile stuff, right? Your dating profile stuff. Um, yeah, and then you have they said a minute and a half to go through all that and say what you're looking for. Now, I think anyone listening, any rational human being can look at that and be like, I'm sorry, 2 minutes is not enough time to possibly know anyone ever. I don't think it's ever been enough time to know anyone, especially today. And yeah, it is high level uh surface level stuff, right? That has nothing to do with, oh, I have anxiety, I have a history of mental disorders, or I have this health issue. It has nothing to do with any of that, right? So yeah, that's just high level basic stuff there. So after I introduced and gave my basic information out, I'm like, okay, I just want to share that I think we can agree that this is not really enough time to get to know anyone at all. Now I'll do my best to describe what I'm looking for and how I see life. Okay, and if someone here vibes with that, cool. Let's we can connect, no problem, right? So I just described that life is difficult and it's ups and downs, and I'm looking for we need someone with the right mindset and big word perspective to do life with, right? And I try to get be short and sweet about it, but I also have to describe, kind of provide this context, describe my get some of my personality in, also share the mindset I'm looking for. So it's a lot to accomplish in like 2 minutes, man. So I'm doing that. I see some people nodding in the audience, and like I said, dry, no sound. So you have to kind of create that. And the organizers definitely did not have zero consideration, had no consideration for you as a man, in terms of your anxiety, in terms of your fear of public speaking, in terms of what you actually are looking for, or how you can verbalize that in front of a group, in front of a room. Zero consideration. They could care less about that. But hey, man, I didn't make the rules. I'm just the messenger. I'm just playing by their rules. So all right, whatever. So I do that. Leading up to it, yes, my anxiety, as anyone can normally feel, your heart rate will go up just because you're waiting for said thing to happen, right? It's waiting for your turn. And so, and then I'm just trying to do breathing exercises, get my mind off of it, not think too much about what I'm gonna say, even though I wrote it down what I'm gonna say. And then when I go up, I'm like, all right, just calm my nerves, just try to control my heart rate. Me and my buddy was kind of laugh at stuff to calm the nerves a bit. And I go into it, and then I had some reactions from the other guys, like, hey man, you did good. I like what you said, yada yada. Cool, thank you. I'm being authentic. I'm not bullshitting at all. 100% authenticity and honesty. And yeah, take it or leave it. Whoever did decide to match with me, I didn't see that much there value wise, either personality wise, attractiveness, etc. What I'm looking for, whatever. So I didn't see that. And yeah, that includes age and attractiveness physically. I'm sorry. But and that's not the end all be all, I will say, but it is obviously a part of it. So, anywho, so I just left that. I left that event thinking like, okay, uh, yes, no, despite your accomplishments, despite your the kind of person you are, it still comes down to this arbitrary BS of like who makes who's a high catch, who makes good money, who is the tallest, who is this hierarchical top top level figure, and they will get the higher percentage of matches or people attracted to them, and that's just it is what it is, man. And that's all good. And all we can do is try to become the best version of ourselves and try to become as physically fit and mentally fit, and that is a thing, and strong mentally and work hard and believe in your faith, strong belief and so forth, and the plans of the universe. They say what's meant for you is yours, and trust the timing of the universe, right? And I can attest to that in terms of where I am in terms of being a homeowner for a few years now, so I'm grateful for that. But um, yeah, I had zero concern after that. I'm like, hey man, I just understand how whether this event or future event or how people tend to look at life and tend to look at whatever. I get it. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna. We all have certain standards we're looking for and certain things we value. But you know what I heard is love is not finding the right person, it's becoming the right person. Let that sink in. Totally agree there. Because it doesn't matter. Uh, all the Hollywood stuff and the fairy tale stuff is out the window, my friend. It's not life is not fairy tale. Okay, it's real. It's real life. It's brutal. It's cold. And that being said, that doesn't mean you can't be romantic, or doesn't mean you can't hope for the best or whatever. But yeah, no one has to lower their standards for anything. And you're gonna get what the universe decides that you deserve. Does that make sense? Whoever you are, male, female, background, age, whatever, you we pretty much get what the universe thinks we deserve and what you put in based on the efforts and hard work you put in through all areas of life, right? So, anywho, just a little bit of a experience there, real life stuff there. After the event, my friends were they were lesser, right? They weren't feeling great because they didn't like the whole deal with the format of the thing, and the guys had to go up and do all the talking. Girls didn't have to do any talking. And then if they picked you, they put their name in the envelope, and then you go talking to them, and you had 3 minutes to do that, and blah 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 blah. So anyway, maybe we're a test subject, maybe we're a test group, and if they implement stuff in the future that could benefit, fine. That's their deal. So, but yeah, my perspective was, hey man, I'm not looking I'm not expecting to find a wife in this event, okay? I'm just there and I'm going to show up and present my best self and be authentic who I am and what I'm looking for. And if someone vibes or I'm there to vibe with someone that I attracted to and I want to connect with, cool, let's do it. If not, that's fine. So um yeah, I wasn't deterred one bit, and we just went on and carried about our weekend and enjoyed. By the way, the food in Houston is phenomenal. Especially if you're South Asian. Oh my God. Every single restaurant fit like 5 out of 5 stars. Even the technically lower star restaurant, still the food was hitting, man. Holy shit. There was one on Friday called Aga in southwest Houston. It was like a Pakistani Indian restaurant, and there was like a line at the door, man, like 30-minute, 40-minute wait. It was insane, but the food was hitting, man. Everything. And then we went to a buffet on Sunday, and I got up at 8 a.m. when everyone was sleeping. Got up, hit the gym, did my steps, hit the sauna, changed, showered, boom, 2 hours. I was done. I was ready. And now their target was 10 a.m., but nobody was ready by then anyway, even including my buddies. But we got there 11, finished the buffet by noon, and hit the road back home. Phenomenal, absolutely worth every single penny. Those buffets. This one was called Karai Boys in Houston. Shout out to Karai Boys. So yeah, fun little weekend. But yeah, I think that's enough for today's episode. Just some perspective for y'all. And hope y'all enjoy this episode. And for more, please subscribe and like and share. I will be posting more frequently and regularly once I get a more of a vibe for this and feel for this. So hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys share. And yeah, uh, as anyways, it's just some perspective for you. All right, have one. Take care.